Hi friends, it's Guy here. I want to warmly welcome you to the Shadow Work Challenge. Thank you for taking the time to explore yourself and to go under the surface to dive into the depths of who and how you are and how you've become and how you're becoming. So shadow work is essential in my view to recovering our full state of balance and harmony. Often we end up living in a search for the light or enlightenment, or to be better, or to be good. And in so doing, we often push into the absence that which we've left behind. Sometimes we do this out of avoidance, sometimes we do this out of escape, sometimes we do this out of ignorance. We're not aware that we are bypassing something from the past. Because there's a tendency as a human being to seek pleasure and avoid pain. I understand this. And this is not a work to deliberately seek pain. This is an invitation to redress the balance so that we can incorporate everything that's being pushed into shadow in the fullness of our authentic light. So the way I understand the process to work is that when something happens that we don't have the resources to deal with, that is too overwhelming or scary or we're afraid, we then push it underground. And it's a coping mechanism. It's a way of protecting ourselves from that which was perceived as being too much for us to live with at the time. Now, initially, this self-defense mechanism, this protection mechanism, is a good thing because it helps keep us safe in the present moment. The problem comes when it goes on for a week, a month, a year, several years, a decade, and before you know it, it's been anchored so deeply into the unconscious that it becomes part of our cells, part of our memory, part of our emotional repression, and that can have a big impact on our health, our relationships, our finances, and our general view of life. Because everything that's ignored, pushed down, still lives inside of us. It's still living in a parallel universe or multiverse, if you like, and still has an influence and an impact, even though we may not immediately see it having an impact. So for example, if we push away some kind of fear because something was too overwhelming for us in childhood, and we never address that fear, we never meet that circumstance or situation or feeling, then that fear becomes part of our perception, and that perception creates an identity. And that identity then manifests through our life as a certain character with characteristics which then inhibit us from living fully and freely. Now, when we address that hidden fear, that repressed memory, that difficult situation, and we have new resources to meet it this time, that's the important thing, is to have new resources to meet the situation with. Then we are able to heal it back into wholeness. And the fear dissolves, and we reintegrate that lost energy. So no longer do we have a phobia or a reaction or overwhelming feelings and emotions. We meet situations similar to the past experience, and we find ourselves at peace. This is how we know we've integrated lost aspects of shadow. So in a very simple way of saying, something uncomfortable happens, we push it into shadow, we build a defense mechanism around this, and that becomes an identity, a behavior, and a belief system. And we end up looking out into the world from that perception that has been born from a traumatic event. When I talk about self, I could easily say that self is also a village of selves. That it's not just one character here, that there's a multiplicity of characters here, and these characters have all fragmented off based on past traumatic, uncomfortable, fearful situations that were not fully addressed at the time. So to heal, and healing as I see it is to heal back into wholeness, is to recover these lost and forgotten aspects of self and to bring them back into conscious awareness, to breathe through the energy with love and compassion and inclusion. And so we gather the energy that was pushed down and it pops back up like a cork rising to the surface to bring back its energy and its gifts. So this is the work of shadow dance, to recover energy. Then these fragmented selves that occur inside us as criticism, as judgment, as opinion, as rigid beliefs. This is how we know a sub-personality is communicating, because it has a really fierce agenda. That's how we know that there's places in the unconscious which are communicating through us, because there's a reactive energy to it. There's an overwhelmed energy to it. If we are judging something, it means we are attempting to push it away. If we are afraid of something in the unknown, it's because we haven't yet recovered the resources to embrace the unknown. So this brief training is an invitation to give you an overview of shadow work, my approach to it, and how important it is to build resources at the beginning. Now, to put all of this in context, I love to use the mythology of the hero's journey, or the heroine's journey, as a map, a roadmap for going through these shadow experiences. So just very briefly, I'll give the outline of the hero's journey. So the hero is going through life in a relatively ordinary way, doesn't feel like a hero yet. And then there's a call to adventure. Could be an invitation from someone, could be a message on Facebook or Instagram, could be a message in the mail, could be a teacher who inspires you to consider something. There's a call to adventure. And this call to adventure is to step out of your comfort zone, to step out of what is considered to be normal and ordinary, into something new where you will grow, you will meet your growth edge. So the call to adventure comes, and then the next stage after this is a resistance or a rejection of the adventure. It's like an unwillingness to leave the comfortable, known status quo of your experience. So you push it down, avoid it, and deny it. But the call to adventure has an uncanny way of keep returning back to you. It's like it whispers in your dreams, it comes through the voices of others, and you receive signs all over the place. Are you willing to undertake this adventure? If you say yes, the next stage is to meet a mentor, a guide, somebody who's passed through a similar challenge or ordeal or adventure, who can offer their wisdom to you and resources and training and skills. So meeting the mentor is a very important stage in this journey with shadow work and with the hero's journey. The mentor, who is somebody who has stepped into the underworld, taken the descent into the unconscious, has met the shadow realm, has faced and felt and nourished with compassion and love and presence, and healed what was broken back into wholeness, back into fullness. So the mentor stands as a guide before you and offers his or her wisdom and instruction to train you. So at this stage in the journey, we start to get trained, we build resources, we create resilience, we manifest courage and bravery, and we prepare ourselves for the journey ahead. Then the next stage is the mentor steps back and you meet the ordeal, the challenge, the initiation. And this is where we pass through our own personalized version of the shadow realm that we are ready to meet. This is where we enter the shadow work for ourselves. But we're not going in as we were as children, without the resources, without the support, without the wisdom. We enter in with this energy of I can, I will, I'm able, this courage, this bravery. and we meet the ordeal, which may be healing a wound from inner childhood. It may be confronting a person that you were afraid of. It may be going through a situation of regret or grief or loss or abandon. To face and feel into something that is very difficult for you and challenging, but has been having an impact on your present life. So the adventure, the call to adventure, is a call for wholeness, a call for healing. So we meet the ordeal, we go through the adventure, we meet the challenge with our resources and wisdom and energy, and in the meeting, we heal it back into wholeness, into fullness. So there's a stage beyond this. We've now done our own personal healing work. We've taken our own descent into the underworld, into the unconscious, into the shadow realm. And now we are knowledgeable and wise in the shadow realm itself. And so we have upgraded ourselves into the position of the mentor. And we're going to pay this forwards to other people on the path who wish to have guidance and receive support and encouragement as they go through their challenges. And so the hero's journey is a wonderful map of consciousness and energy and a human journey through life, and illustrates how we go through our own personal challenges and how these personal challenges can become universal gifts for others. So in many ways, this is why I am offering you this shadow work challenge, because I have dwelt and spent time in the shadow realm, addressing childhood wounds, painful situations, repressed material, situations I've avoided and denied, grief, loss, shame, guilt, embarrassment. I've dived in to a lot of these shadow areas and rescued them, reclaimed them, nourished them, and brought them back to wholeness. So I feel more and more in a state of fullness and inclusion. So no longer am I seeking the light or seeking the dark. I am in a space of balance and harmony in which both are included and complement each other. There are gifts and wisdom in both directions. So I share this as a vision and a wish and an energy to inspire you to find the courage inside to meet your own hero's journey as you take the adventure into this shadow work challenge. So a little practical instruction about how the next 3 days will be presented. So this is an introductory video just to give you an inspiration, an encouragement, an overview. And then on Monday the 19th, I will launch the first video on the shadow of the inner child or inner children. On the 20th, I'll launch the video on the shadow of money, and on the 21st, we'll launch the video on the dark goddess, reclaiming the sacred feminine and our full embodiment. So these are the 3 subjects that I'll be presenting in the Shadow Work Challenge. So there will be some communication, some presentation on these subjects, and then I will invite you into exercises and describe them for you. And I will also accompany these with some worksheets, which you can then look at and get involved in and get to work with. So you can, in your own pace, in your own way, with your own feeling, start to enter into your own shadow realm work. So you become a shadow dancer, is what I call it, as you recover more life energy inside yourself. So I really appreciate you coming on this challenge. Really thank you for your courage and for your trust and for your empowerment to take the next steps in your life to integrate and heal back into wholeness more of yourself, so the past stops having an unconscious influence on the present moment, and you can find more freedom and liberation and joy in your self-expression. Thank you for listening from me, Guy Barrington, and hope you look forward to the next video on the shadow of the inner child.